Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Beluga series. Today, I want to talk about how some women are fat because they've never been skinny. Have you ever noticed that? It's only the women who have never been thin in their adult lives. They have never had a flat stomach. They've never had abs. They've never had no love handles. They've never not had bra strap fat. Those are the main ones who make this talking point of, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. Men don't really care. Nobody cares in society. Well, what you are is good enough. I'm not saying that you're not good enough, but I am saying that I want to be who I say I am. The whole reason that I care so much about being at a healthy weight is because, bitch, I am who I say I am. If I say in my head, I'm pretty, I have a nice body, then guess what? My life needs to reflect that. So just because you've never had that experience before, that doesn't mean that others don't want to have that experience. It reminds me of people that say, your degree doesn't matter, going to college doesn't matter. Well, college is a scam. It's only the people who didn't go to college, or the people who didn't finish college, or the people who couldn't afford it, or they couldn't become anything after college. Those are the only people who make that talking point. So the same goes for when it comes to being thin. And I see a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, how do I keep the motivation? Motivation didn't get me here. It was learning how to be bored, first of all. Some women, they don't know how to be bored. They get bored and they pick up a bag of Doritos. They get bored and they pick up some ice cream. They get bored and then they go drive to Starbucks and then they get a 500-calorie Frappuccino. Because she doesn't know how to be bored. She doesn't know how to just sit down and shut up and close her mouth. She doesn't know how to close her mouth. That's it. Her mouth is constantly sucking on a straw, on a Frappuccino. She's sucking on Brad's dick. She's constantly flapping her gums, talking shit about skinny women. Okay, she doesn't know how to close her mouth, and that is why she is a beluga. That is a part of beluga culture. She does not know how to close her mouth. Also, I feel like if you experience being pretty privileged and having a healthy body, once you get a taste of that experience, you're not going to want to go back. So I see a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'd be okay at 175. No, I'd be depressed at 175. As a matter of fact, 155 would be a depression trigger for me, and I have no problem saying that. So people who say things like, oh, no, I can be 225, I can be 175, I can be this. It's like, but have you ever experienced being at an actual healthy weight? And by the way, I think the average weight for a woman in America is about 175. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't fit my personality. I don't identify as having an average body. I identify as having a healthy body, being at a healthy weight. 175 is not a healthy weight for most heights. You have to be damn near 6 feet. Actually, I just looked it up. You have to be 5'10" and above as a woman for 175 to be considered a healthy weight. So how is it that you are 4'10" and then you weigh the same as a woman who's 5'10"? Make that make sense. And then you want to try to say, oh, well, it's not a big deal. And the way that I kind of stay on track with my body weight and like being healthy and stuff, I'm not giving up these privileges that I have, because all of these are separate privileges. You know, you got the pretty privilege, then you've got health privilege because you're at a healthy weight. You know, you got the thin privilege on top of that, and then the older you get, the more of a flex it becomes. So for me, being in my mid 30s and having a healthy body weight, now that's considered like a big deal because most women my age, they do have kids, or they are starting to let themselves go or whatever. So with all of that status, with all of those privileges, with all of those opportunities, why would I then choose to sabotage myself and literally go down? Why would I choose to level down to an unhealthy weight? A lot of people that I know actually, they will lose weight and then they literally become fitness trainers. Like that becomes their new side hustle. Okay, so now you're telling me that people are having entirely new career paths. They have a whole income open to them right now because they decided to be healthy. That's it. All it took was them putting down the fork, and now they've got a six-figure fitness training business. So I'm not willing to give up the opportunities and the status and the privilege and the treatment and the admiration and the respect. I'm not willing to give those things up just so I could eat a bag of Cheetos. And a lot of people don't realize that when you are at a healthy weight, people have to respect your weight. They have to respect your body. And I'm not saying that other people shouldn't be respected, but it's like, there's no way that you could ever call me bad body. That's one insult that you will never be able to say to me. You'll never be able to say, oh, well, that's why she's bad built. She's bad bodied. Oh, well, she's fat. She's overweight. She's obese. She's a big back. You'll never be able to say those insults. So I'm literally preventing dozens, if not hundreds of insults simply by being at a healthy weight. That's number one. Number two, you cannot call me lazy or undisciplined because it takes discipline in order to maintain a healthy BMI and a healthy amount of muscle and to have like an athletic, having endurance and all that. All of the achievements that I've had athletically, like in the gym, being able to like run for a long time or being able to lift weights or whatever, all of that, that's an achievement. So you can't call me fat, you can't call me bad bodied, and you also can't call me lazy or undisciplined. You can't call me unhealthy, and you can't call me self sabotaging when it comes to my body. Because on top of not being an unhealthy weight, I also do not do drugs or substances or anything like that. So again, you're opening yourself up to way more privileges just by being healthy. So I think some women, they never become thin because they've just never experienced it. The skinniest they've ever been is 200. The skinniest they've ever been is 175. And so their frame of reference is 175. So that's why they feel like, oh, I'm only 185. So it's not a big deal. It's like, well, yeah, because you've never experienced the other side. It reminds me of the women who say, oh, well, being average, being medium ugly, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, yeah, of course you're saying that because you've never experienced being pretty. So your only options are being medium ugly or regular ugly. So you're working from a lower level framework. And I think that's what a lot of women end up doing with their bodies. And then they'll be like, oh, well, being 140, that's too skinny. And it's like, well, but that's a healthy weight for your height. So what do you mean that's too skinny? It's not too skinny, according to the freaking medical association. So what are you talking about? If doctors agree that 140 is not too skinny, who are you to override the entire... So you're telling me you're smarter than the entire medical system, all of those doctors who came together and said, hey, this is a healthy weight, all of the people who did all of those scientific studies, you're smarter than all of them. And then you're saying, oh no, but that's too skinny. But one of the pretty girls commented in the Patreon and she said she wants me to do an episode on beluga activities that I've witnessed. And she put some that she has seen. She said, working from home, aka from the couch 24/7, mandatory daily naps, going to a new city to end up napping in a park, going shopping for the food court, movie theater with a bulk barn shopping spree before, buying for a family of 4, literally, low-key passive-aggressive if we don't join them in stuffing face, and then they go nap to hide their stuffed face, going to an island or an excursion only to find the nearest bar and sit on their ass the entire time. Every time we change location, several snacks are required, and they have fun thinking about the snacks that we need to bring, camping supplies, they want to be in charge of snacks, and they buy the craziest amount ever, and they want to split, while you only eat 15% of it at most. Free kayak rentals will never be touched. I have so many examples. Yeah, have you ever noticed, like, a lot of women who are big, my question is, okay, who are you big for? You're saying that I'm just trying to be skinny for somebody else. Like, oh, you're trying to be skinny for the male gaze. You're trying to be skinny so you can impress people. Okay, and then who are you fat for? Who are you being obese for? Because a lot of women, they're literally causing themselves to become disabled. Like, it's to the point where they can't walk. They'll go on these vacations. It's like, well, I don't know why you're going on a vacation. You can't fit in the airplane seat. You're not going to wear a bikini. You're going to have to spend hundreds of dollars on more expensive bras and like a more expensive swimsuit that holds in everything. You need like a girdle swimsuit or whatever. So now you have to spend all this extra money on that swimsuit. You have to purchase 2 airplane seats. Then you can only go to certain hotels where like the bed supports you and gives you good back support. And then you have to have extra pillows and you need all this extra neck support. You need head support. You need to keep your legs elevated. All of these problems could have been solved by simply putting down the fork. And no, the problems can't just be solved by going to the gym. The gym is filled with belugas. You know what? I actually got so ticked off yesterday because for the first time, I went to the park. There were no parking spots at the entire park. I am in a major city in the United States. This is by far one of the biggest parks in the entire country, but there were so many people there that there were no parking spots. Thousands of parking spots, all of them just taken up. All of them taken up. You know why? Because the belugas decided to come out. They decided randomly they wanted to come out in the evening because they see all these TikToks about running clubs and all this shit, walking clubs and going to the park. And, going to a running club is like going to a dating club. So you got all these belugas popping out of nowhere, taking up all the parking spots. All because they're trying to be seen by men. So it's like, I'm over here peacefully going to the park. And I already knew. As soon as I was driving around, I was like, okay, they'll be gone in 30 minutes. I knew it. 30 minutes later, I see hundreds of cars leaving the parking lot. All the free parking spaces are opening up. All the paid parking, they all paid so they could take up the paid parking lot as well. All those cars start filtering out. And so a lot of women, they have this beluga mindset. They think that being thin is just so easy and it's not really an accomplishment. Yes, it is, because you guys couldn't even last for 30 minutes at the park. You bum rushed the park and created all this traffic. You were blocking all of the trails. Like, I was literally trying to go on like an obscure trail kind of off to the side, and there were hella belugas walking in the middle of the trail. Bitch, we're in the United States of America. You walk on the right side, okay? And then the people coming the opposite direction, they walk on the left side. You're not supposed to just take up the entire trail and then you block people, and then you want to walk on the trail with like 5 dogs. I was walking on the trail yesterday, and this beluga man with a bowling ball shaped head, he literally just bogards past me. There's a big swipe of fur on my leg. I'm like, oh my God, what the heck? He has this big old dog just running past people, brushing past people, going on the wrong side of the trail, just completely disrespecting social norms. And that's fine. If you don't want to follow social norms, that's cool. But guess what? The social norm I'm not following is being obese. That will never be a social norm that I will accept. And I understand why all the belugas were at the park yesterday. They want to be skinny. I get it. They're trying to look like me. They're trying to look like me. You're trying to go from 275 to 175. You're trying to go from 220 to 120. You're trying to go from 250 to 150. So yeah, you want your body weight to be closer to my body weight. Okay, sorry, I just had to go on that rant really quick, but a lot of people, they're talking all this shit on social media. I see people saying, oh, well, being skinny is not that big of a deal. But that same woman, she's going to go to the gym tonight. So she's telling other women that they should stay big. She's telling other women that they should keep their fat ass or whatever, or like men like it when they're bigger. But then that woman herself, she's been crash dieting for several weeks. That woman is on Weight Watchers. That woman is looking up how to get Ozempic right now. She's looking up how to get Ozempic. She's over here going to the gym, and she's secretly going to the parks and the trails, and she's getting her steps in while telling you that you don't have to do that. So that's just another social climbing strategy, actually, that some women will use. They'll purposely try to give bad advice, or they try to lie and say that they don't care. They'll be like, oh, I don't have any weight loss goals. Oh, I don't care about losing weight. Meanwhile, she's over here eating all these nasty Weight Watchers meals. She's basically eating concentrated, powdered, dehydrated food. She's doing all these little, the Atkins diet, the South Beach diet. She's nauseous from the Ozempic she's been taking. And she's telling you that weight loss is not important. And, being 175 is too skinny. Being 195, that's too skinny. You need to stay above 200, because if you're below 200 pounds, you look like a child. Your body looks like a child. You don't look like a grown woman, because apparently to them, their definition of grown woman is obesity, because all the grown women they've known in their life were obese women. Their mama was obese, their grandmama, their aunties, all of their cousins, they were all obese. So their definition of femininity is obesity. That's why they say, oh, well, if you're not fat, or like if you're at a healthy weight, you don't look like a woman. Like it's not feminine to be at a healthy weight. They have a scarcity mindset when it comes to femininity. They feel like the only way to be feminine is with a gigantic overweight ass. Like obesity equals femininity. Having gigantic hips, and then they'll be like, oh, it makes you look more fertile, having childbearing hips. And it's like, first of all, you're actually, you can still be fertile and bear a child at a healthy weight. In fact, that's better to have a healthy body when there's a baby in it. Also, why are we so male centered? Oh, well, I have grown woman weight on my body, so I look like I'm about to have some babies. And it's like, when it comes to being thin, for me, another reason why I'm at a healthy weight is because I've never seen anybody become overweight and then their life changed for the better. Like, I've never seen any TikToks or anything where the women are like, oh, I gained 200 pounds. Now I've changed my life. My life is so much better. I get treated better now. I'm richer. I'm more mentally healthy than I was before now that I'm obese. No, I don't see anybody like talking about how obesity was a positive addition to their life. No, they just try to they try to neutralize it by saying, "Oh, just be positive about your body." Okay, but your medical records are not positive about your body. That would be like if you told people to celebrate having cancer, like, "Oh, body positivity, you should celebrate it." No, you should still want to get rid of something that is making you sick. So in my case, it's about health, but it's also about looks as well. Because I do care about how my body looks. And so, no, I don't want to have bra strap fat. That's one of the most annoying things ever. I don't want that. I don't want a random roll and a random spare tire just hanging on the outside of my boobs. Now I look like I have 4 boobs or I look like I have 3 boobs. No, I don't want to look like my boobs are deformed just because I couldn't put down the fork. I don't want to have fat hanging over the side of my jeans. I have a gigantic muffin top. Like, I'm over here trying to hide it. I'm trying to suck in my stomach. I'm walking around looking all stiff, like I'm walking bow legged so I could try to make my stomach look flatter. No, I don't want to be like that. And also, I will never understand how some women can eat so much because it's like, do you know how much gas you're going to get? Just imagine if you ate an entire pizza. Like, just imagine eating the entire box of pizza. Your bowel system is like exploding right now. So, no, I don't want to have explosive diarrhea 24/7. I don't want to walk around squeezing my butt cheeks together because I'm trying to hold in my fart. Do you know how many people were probably farting on that trail yesterday? All those belugas that were out there running for the first time, they put their body into a state of shock. That's why most of them left within 30 minutes. I knew they would be gone. I knew that the parking lot was going to empty up in 30 minutes. So I just kept circling around. And sure enough, 30 minutes later, it starts emptying out. Yeah, because you don't actually care about working out. You just came out here out of curiosity. You're a follower. You're a sheep. And a lot of women become overweight by being a sheep. They're being a follower. Whatever McDonald's tells them they should eat, that's what they're going to eat. Whatever Popeyes tells them they should eat. By the way, there was recently a condom found inside of a piece of Popeyes chicken. Like, it went viral and everything. So I just want to put that out there. And it's like, women who are belugas, they follow all the advertisements. They fall for the propaganda that being big is good. And it's like, well, yeah, that's exactly what these companies want. They want you to be addicted to their products. They want you to be addicted to their food. They want you to spend more money buying more Doritos and buying more Coca-Cola and, spending more money on Spanx and spending more money on girdles, spending more money on corsets and waist trainers. I have one corset. I have had that same exact corset for 6 years because I'm skinny. So, when you're a beluga, though, you stretch everything out. You'll put the girdle on and then it breaks and then it like pops out of place and, you've overstretched it and now it's not as effective. So now you got to go buy a new one. Like, I remember one time when I was a beluga, I burned through my leggings. Like, my thighs were rubbing together so much. That's why I said you could start a fire with your inner thighs. I'm speaking from experience here. My thighs would burn a hole through the middle of my leggings. So, like, I would just be walking and then, like, my leggings just rip. And have you ever noticed that people try to blame the clothes? It's not the clothes, because this is back before Shein and all that stuff was a big thing. So those leggings, those were not, like, the cheapest leggings. They were normal leggings from, like, I think maybe TJ Maxx or something like that. So it's like, that's a part of the issue that comes with being a beluga. You're constantly destroying clothes. It's a very destructive lifestyle. Just imagine destroying your body with all these poisonous foods, and then you try to cope. You use alcohol as a coping mechanism, but because you're so big, now you're a heavyweight in terms of alcohol, so you can't get drunk off of just one shot. No, you got to get 5 or 6. You have to get a gigantic daiquiri. You have to pay 30, 40, $50 for your drinks because you can't even get tipsy anymore to escape your problems. So, just imagine living a lifestyle that's that destructive. I can't imagine wanting to destroy myself like that. Why am I thin? Because I love myself. That's why. I love my body. I love my skin complexion and my skin tone. I love my body shape. And so I want to show it. I want to show my skin. Especially in the summertime, I'm going to show some skin. I'm going to wear my halter tops. I want to show off this lovely complexion, this lovely smooth stomach, these smooth legs, my smooth arms that don't look like turkey wings. I don't want to have a lunch lady cafeteria body. I don't want to look like the high school cafeteria lunch lady. I want to look like who I think I am, which is Exoticals United. And also for me too, having a YouTube channel, even though you guys don't know who I am, the only way I'm able to make content, do you really think I'd be able to come on here and talk this much shit with nothing to back it up? No. That would go against my entire identity. And I told you guys that cognitive dissonance, I feel like that's a depression trigger. And I've never heard any creators say that. I think that a lot of depression comes from cognitive dissonance. It comes from your expectations not meeting reality. It comes from who you want to be not measuring up with your actions. So all of that is just cognitive dissonance. So part of why I stay thin is because, bitch, I am who I said I am. That's why. That it gives me the confidence to come on here and talk shit and to clap back at people who think they can talk shit about me. I would not be able to clap back if I was bad built and had, and I'm fat and I'm like obese and I'm lying about everything. I'm addicted to all this stuff. No, then I wouldn't be able to clap back as strongly. Bitch, my body is the clap back. How about them apples? Some people throw drinks. I don't have to throw drinks. I am a drink. I'm a tall drink of water myself. So I don't need to throw a drink at you. My body is the revenge. But when it comes to beluga culture, have you ever noticed that a lot of belugas, they talk about how they love going shopping. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. How are you able to go shopping? Are you sure you can get that many steps in? Because walking up and down the aisles and walking in the mall and stuff, that's thousands of steps. So you're telling me you're willing to take thousands of steps so you can purchase something from somebody else. So you're giving away your money to other people. That's the only way you're willing to take 2,000 steps. You want to take 2,000 steps into the mall. You want to take 2,000 steps into a restaurant. You want to take 2,000 steps so you can walk downtown and act like you're outside. But then you won't take 2,000 steps so you can actually be healthy and so you can not be pre-diabetic. If that's not bad social climbing, I don't know what is. If I were obese right now, I would not be going shopping. You know what I would be doing? I would be purchasing Ozempic. Like, seriously, if I were that bad, if I'm that down bad and I'm so obese to the point where the doctor is prescribing me some sort of Ozempic or Wegovy or whatever, then that's what I would spend my money on. Why would I go and buy more parachutes and then wear those parachutes as a piece of clothing? Because you didn't buy a shirt. You didn't buy underwear. You bought a parachute. That's how big that piece of fabric is. You literally bought a blanket. Like, just imagine being that big to where your shirt is the size of a blanket. Your pants are the size of a sleeping bag. Your coat is the size of a body bag. Like, literally, do you really want to be that big? If I had that much extra weight, and especially if I had extra money as well, and then I'm also obese, bitch, I'm going to the doctor. We need to get this shit taken care of. But another reason I like to be thin is because I actually get to I can enjoy fashion more. I can express myself with clothing more. Because like I said, when I was a beluga, nobody was really complimenting my t-shirt and legging. That, I will never get over that. I will never get over that. Literally, I get complimented in a t-shirt and leggings. As a matter of fact, literally just 2 times this week, and this is nothing to brag about, but some women care about this. Literally 2 times in the past week, I got asked on dates while wearing a t-shirt and leggings. Hair was frizzy as fuck. Frizzy ass curls in the front of my head. T-shirt and leggings. Oh, you're really pretty. Can I take you out sometime? What? A lot of women who are obese, they don't know what that's like. They have to wear all the makeup and try to contour their face, so it doesn't look as fat or whatever, but then it just looks fat and sparkly. It actually looks worse when they contour it, but anyway. They're trying to contour everything. They have to wear tape, like the face tape, to try to suck in their cheeks. And like, when you're skinny, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can literally wear a t-shirt and leggings and be admired and get complimented and have people offer to take you out and wine and dine you just wearing a t-shirt and leggings. So that's why I say that a lot of the girls who say stuff like, "Oh, well, 140 is too skinny, 170 is too skinny." Well, they've probably never been below that weight themselves. So that's a form of cope. She's just coping. Oh, well, is it really worth it to lose weight? Is it really worth it to be thin? Okay, you've never been thin. You've never been thin if you're saying that. You've never been thin and pretty at the same time as an adult. Those are the only women that I hear saying that, it's not a big deal. It's the women who have never tasted that sort of pretty privilege. They've never had that level of admiration before. They've never had that level of respect. And especially if you're going somewhere like the park or a gym or a tennis club, you're going to a soccer or volleyball club. If you walk into the volleyball club and you're obese, nobody will notice you most likely. But if you walk into a volleyball club and you're in shape and you look like a volleyball Barbie doll, you look like a professional volleyball player, well, now you're going to get a whole new level of admiration. Girls are going to walk up to you and they're going to want to be your friend. They're going to want you on their team. They'll want to talk to you. They're going to ask you questions like, "Oh, where'd you get your outfit? Oh, how many grams of protein?" This is one thing I love about being thin, by the way. Being thin becomes a conversation topic. Like, I've had people ask me before how much I weigh. I've had people ask me, and I'm not offended or anything. When you're skinny, you're not really offended. I'm not going to say my weight on here, though, because I don't want to promote, I don't want to create a hierarchy like, "Oh, you have to weigh the same as me," or whatever. All of us are different heights. As long as you're healthy, that's all I care about. But in real life, I have been able to literally make friends or have entire conversations about fitness, about nutrition. I will talk to people about like how many grams of protein they have in a day. Like, "Oh, what do you get? Like 200 grams of protein?" He's like, "Yeah, I get 200. What about you? Like 120?" Or, so I feel like there's so much knowledge that also goes into weight loss. You do have to have nutritional knowledge. You do have to know about like macros and how to fast properly or what time frame works best for you with eating. So for example, with me, I don't do well when I eat late at night. So no, I'm not going to eat at 1 a.m. Why would I eat a giant meal at 1 a.m.? That's not what my body likes to do. That's, as somebody who has gone from being unhealthy to being healthy, I know the rhythm of my body. So a lot of women, they become big because they neglected their body. And, it really is a journey. That's why I say that weight loss and fitness and nutrition and being at a healthy weight is a culture, just like how being a beluga is a culture. American culture supports beluga culture because capitalism supports beluga culture. They want you to shop at their restaurant. They want you to be addicted to coffee and all that and buy frappuccinos every day, which is really not real coffee. Please do not say that you're a coffee drinker and then when I ask you, "Oh, what kind of coffee?" "Oh, I drink frappuccinos." That's not coffee. That's a latte. It's a frozen blended latte. Okay, so it's mainly milk. Anytime you're drinking a latte, it's mostly milk. So I just want to put that out there. You're drinking a small espresso shot, which is 0 calories, and then the rest of your cup, guess what's filling the rest of your cup? It's milk. So you can't tell me that you're a coffee drinker when the majority of your drink is milk or it's fucking cream, especially if you drink brevets and stuff. That the majority of your cup is half and half. So no, you are not a coffee drinker. You are a milk drinker. You're drinking milk. So you don't want to drink muscle milk. You don't want to drink a protein shake, but you want to drink a gigantic frappuccino. You literally could have made your own frappuccino at home. You could have blended up a protein shake, and you could have done that. You could have had a protein latte. I don't know why I'm ranting about that. But yeah, I feel like a lot of women, they've never experienced having abs. And actually, I talked about this in my femininity video. I talked about feminine goals and how a lot of women, they've never explored their feminine options. So you know how like a lot of people watch Love Island and they're like, "Oh, they're just exploring. They're exploring their romantic options." Most women have not explored their feminine options. You do know that having a flat stomach is an option, right? You do know that weighing less than 200 is an option, right? So why are you limiting yourself? Oh, I can only be 210. That's the smallest I'll ever get. Oh, I'm just big boned. Oh, well, I'm just, my body holds on to fat. Oh, well, I'm black, so I'm always going to have an overweight ass, aka a fat ass. Having a fat ass, that means you are overweight. It means that your butt is overweight. That's why they use the term fat. But something else I've noticed about belugas is they use food as a reward. And it's like, okay, for me, confidence is a reward, status is a reward, having high self esteem about my stomach, that is a reward. Looking healthy, feeling healthy, having energy, being able to fit in my clothes, being able to fit in a size small, being able to take something off the hanger at a store and just buy it. And then I don't even have to try it on because I know it's going to fit. Because if it says size small or size extra small, I know that I can fit in that. So I don't have to worry about that. That's a reward. That's more of a reward than just eating a cupcake. And I'm not saying it like I never eat unhealthy. Like, no, I eat like junk food and stuff like that, but it's not the majority of my diet. The majority of my diet and lifestyle is pretty healthy. And so that's another reason why some people will be like, oh, how did she eat 3 slices of pizza and she stayed skinny? Like, how did she eat all those cupcakes and she's still thin? Well, it's because that food is probably just refilling her glycogen stores. And, she works out all the time. She eats healthy outside of that. So, that's the only time she's eating those cupcakes. That's the only time she's had a burger this month. So that's why you're thinking, oh, she eats like this all the time. No, she doesn't. She only eats like that when she goes out with friends. Or at least that's what I do. So, like, I had a burger recently. I haven't had a burger from a burger place in, let me see, I think 6 months ago. Christmas is the last time I remember. So that's like once every 6 months. So I find it interesting how you have all these belugas where they swear that skinny people, they just eat the worst diets. And, if you're skinny, you're eating junk food all the time. No, she's probably not eating that all the time. And if she is eating that all the time, clearly she's not eating it in large quantities because if she eats 1,000 calories worth of candy per day, if that's all she's eating, it's not healthy, but it's still just 1,000 calories. A lot of belugas, they will eat 1,000 calories of candy plus a takeout meal. Any meal that I'm getting in a styrofoam takeout thing, 2,000 calories minimum. It's a minimum of 2,000 calories. And I've seen some belugas, they will order several different takeout plates per day. So imagine eating 2 or 3 takeout meals a day. That's 6,000 calories on average. So remember, 1 pound is 3,500 calories. So she's gaining, that's almost a pound a day that you could be gaining, especially if you're not working out at all. But to the pretty girl in the Patreon, she said a lot of bigger people, they're low-key passive-aggressive if we don't join them in stuffing face. Yeah, because they don't want to feel bad. Misery loves company. So if they're overeating, they want you to eat with them. And they think it's weird. I have sat at the restaurant. I told you guys, I've been at restaurants before, and I've been the only one that's not eating. Like, I will sit there and I will drink a cup of coffee because it's 1 a.m. I don't need to eat pizza at the pizza place at 1 a.m. Or if I already had my calories, if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to force myself to eat just because my friends are eating. I'm not going to force myself to overeat just so I can convince others that I'm carefree. That's something that keeps a lot of women at a struggle medium. It's this mindset where it's like, oh, I want to be the cool girl. I want to fit in. So everybody else is eating the cake, so I'm going to eat the cake. Everybody else is overeating. Okay, fuck it. I'm just going to overeat today. I'm just going to have a cheat day, even though you already had like 3 cheat days in a row. Oh, I'm just going to have another cheat day. So a lot of struggle mediums are trying to prove to size large. She's trying to prove that, hey, I'm not that strict. I'm not anorexic. That's another thing. The women who overeat so they can prove to others that they're not anorexic. That will get you to a size struggle medium. It will. Because that's just a part of being thin. Of course they're going to think you're anorexic. She's 275 pounds. She thinks 175 is skinny. So of course she's going to think you're anorexic at 125. Because her standard for thin is like 175, 200 pounds. she's literally like 100 pounds heavier than you. So yeah, they are going to call you anorexic. I don't see healthy people calling other healthy people anorexic. I only see overweight people calling healthy people anorexic or saying that you have an unhealthy relationship with food. It's like, ma'am, you literally eat poison for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you want to tell me that I have an unhealthy relationship with food? First of all, you're overpaying for your food because you're getting takeout and you're eating out at restaurants. That's another difference I've noticed between struggle medium and bigger versus size small. Struggle mediums, they seem to order out a lot more. They order takeout and stuff. They don't order it a lot because you're still a healthy weight, really. Usually, if you're size medium, you're probably still pretty normal. But I have noticed there is a difference. Basically, the bigger she is, I notice the more she eats out because you're eating a bunch of high sodium, high fat, fried, deep fried, oily, greasy, buttery foods. So that's what's making you fat is the hidden calories within the food. And it's like, why would I gain all those extra calories for some mediocre, nasty food? I'm just going to boo boo it out in 1 hour. And also, can you imagine how that makes you smell? You do know that processed food that contributes to you having yeast infections and stuff like that. Eating unhealthy foods that feed the bad bacteria, yeah, that contributes to you having a stinky cooter. So she's walking around, she has a stank cooter, and then when she gets in the shower, she can't stay in the shower very long, so she can't like really wash all of her folds and all of the crevices in her body. So now she's got the smell of rotting flesh as well. And that really is a thing. Like having so many rolls that you can't reach underneath them, that will never be me. I will never allow myself to get to that level because again, I love myself. I have a type of lifestyle that I want to live and, being a size large or double XL, that just doesn't align with the life that I see for myself. So I'm not shaming people who choose to be big. It's more so I just don't align that with myself. It just doesn't fit my personal internalized beauty standard. You don't have to be like me. If you want to be a size double XL, then go for it, but I don't want to be that. Because when I imagine my life, I think about how I want to be able to go running on the beach. I want to be able to walk around Europe and go backpacking. I want to be able to climb mountains and hike and walk uphill. I want to be able to walk up the stairs without sweating and, being drenched in sweat. As a matter of fact, that's one of my favorite things about being slim. I'm not constantly sweating. When I was chunky, I was sweating everywhere. In between my boobs was always sweaty. Underneath my boobs was sweaty. My back was sweaty. My stomach was sweaty. My inner thighs were sweaty. My butt was sweaty. Every single part of my body was just constantly sweating. It's very uncomfortable. Being big is very uncomfortable. Clothes never fit quite right because, your weight's always fluctuating. So your jeans might have fit last week. Now this week they don't fit. This week they're a little bit too tight. So, but you still wear them because, it's not super tight. It's just a little tight. So then when you sit down, now you're cutting off your circulation in your stomach. Or you're wearing those shorts, you're wearing those coochie cutter shorts. They're literally digging into your inner thighs. They're digging into the back of your thighs because they're so tight. But for this exotical who commented this, she said they go to an island or excursion only to find the nearest bar and sit on their ass. You know what bothers me? When I go to a resort, you know how they have the pool and then they have like the bar at the pool? Why would I go to the pool just so I could sit down on a chair? That makes no sense. Bitch, all this money I paid for this resort, all the money I paid so I could have access to this beautiful pool and this beautiful view. Why would I travel all the way across the world just so I could sit down on a chair? That's it. You went from sitting in a chair in your living room to sitting in a chair in Mexico, then you're sitting in a chair in Hawaii, then you're sitting in another chair in Jamaica. It's like, I want to actually explore the country. If I'm in the pool, I want to go swimming in the pool. I want to practice my backstroke and like try to float in the pool. I want to like talk to people or walk around in the pool. I don't know. I want to go to the beach. I don't want to just sit there. That's so boring to me. A lot of women who are big, their life is just sitting down. Everywhere they go, everything they do, all their hobbies are sitting down. They do crocheting. Okay, you're sitting down. They do sewing. Okay, you're sitting down. They watch Love Island while sitting down. They go to a restaurant and sit down and eat. Then they go to a bar and sit down. And then they go ride the ATVs while sitting down. So it's like everything they do is just sitting, sitting, sitting. I'm like, oh my God, is your back not aching from all that sitting you're doing? I don't want to sit down 24/7. I want to stand up. I want to stretch my legs. I want to walk. I want to run. I want to jump. I want to dance. I want to do salsa. That's another thing. It must be so boring. Imagine like not being able to dance. You can't even dance for more than 5 minutes. All this level up content, how to get a man, how to get a rich man, how to do this. Well, you can't even dance. You can't dance without being drenched in sweat. Just imagine a beluga like trying to hit on a guy or flirt with a guy at a resort or something, and then they start dancing and she's just drenched in sweat, like she can barely keep up with the steps because like she's so out of shape. She's breathing all hard, she's heaving, having an asthma attack. She can't even do the electric slide on a cruise. She can't do the salsa. She can't do ballroom dancing or anything because she's so out of breath. That sounds terrible. Even doing things like doing her hair or her makeup, her arms are probably hurting. It's hurting her arm to do her hair. And it's like, okay, how are you going to have the ultimate hair routine if you don't even have the arm strength to like wash your hair and lather it and, blow dry it, whatever. So a lot of them, they really can't do a lot of the DIY routines either, the DIY beauty routines. They can't really do it as much because they can't stand up that long. So, of course they're going to order takeout because they can't stand up in the kitchen and cook for more than like 10 minutes because, that's too much of a workout for them. So everything has to be delivered to them. She can't do her own hair because she doesn't want to work her arms. So then she has to pay extra. She has to go to the salon. It's no option for her. No, she has to go and get her hair snatched up into braids and to get all her edges snatched out by Senegalese twists. She has to wear Senegalese twists and braids and boho 24/7 because she doesn't have the patience and she also doesn't even have the arm strength to do her own hair. So it's like that's literally a form of disability. Why would I want to shrink my life down just because I'm too lazy to eat some vegetables? All this because I want to avoid vegetables, going to all these restaurants, ordering all this Popeyes, looking up every app, trying to find every discount, scrolling on DoorDash for 45 minutes, all because I'm running away from vegetables. Also, I can avoid vegetables. And then I see people talking shit. They're like, oh, well, the lettuce, they had a recall on lettuce. And so, they have bacteria on the vegetables. No, they do not have bacteria on all the other fruits and vegetables in existence. You're literally just trying to make an excuse because you don't want to eat fruits and vegetables. Let's be honest, a lot of people who are big, they're not eating real food. They're literally just eating they're eating microplastics and chemicals and they're eating red dye number 5 and they're just eating a bunch of poisons and they don't realize that's what they're doing. But this pretty girl says that a lot of belugas, every time they change locations, several snacks are required. Yeah, it's like, why is it that I have to get a snack on my way to work and then I have to stop on my way back from work and then I have to stop, in the morning or once I'm done cleaning, now I have to go get another Frappuccino. It's like, why do I need to do that? Why do I have to have a snack every time I have a transition? But something else I was thinking about, like when it comes to me being thin ties into my dream life. So every time I take a bite of salad, every time I have some arugula or like a vegetable, that's me getting one step closer to my dream life. So with every decision I make, I'm either getting closer to my goals or I'm getting further away. So no, I don't want to eat all of that cake. I don't want to make that a habit because whatever you feed yourself, you start to crave, by the way. So why would I keep on introducing more and more and more sugar into my diet? Eventually, I'm just going to keep craving sugar because my body's going to get used to it. Like, oh, this is the routine. We eat sugar every day at 3 p.m. So I'd rather build a habit that's like helping me as opposed to something that's sabotaging me. Because remember, sugar, that contributes to yeast infections. It contributes to cavities, which makes your breath smell bad as well. So it's like she's got a yeast infection, she's got halitosis, she's got bad breath, her hair is it's not nourished because her diet has been trash. So no, I don't want to look like that. I don't want other people to be able to flex their body on me or say like, oh, she's bad bodied or look at how fat she is. No, bitch, you'll never be able to say that shit about me. You better find something else to insult me about. You'll never be able to call me stupid. You can't call me ugly, and you can't call me fat. Those are three insults that you will never be able to call me. I don't care what other insults people call me. You can say whatever else you want about me, but those three things, you won't be able to insult me on those things. So everybody has certain standards for themselves, and I just feel like women who have thin bodies, women who work to stay healthy, they just have a higher standard for their own body. And you know what? That's how I am. 175 is not my standard. And that's okay. If 175 is someone else's standard, that's fine. But I hold myself to a certain percentage of body fat. So I do try to stay at a certain percentage. Well, I try to stay below a certain percentage. So that's a question that you can ask yourself. What body fat percentage are you okay with? 25% and below, 20% and below? How athletic do you want to look? Because in my case, I try to stay at size small. That's kind of like my range for myself is going to be a size small and below. If we're doing it based on dress size 6 and below. So, but I'm very tall though, so I'm not projecting that on others. I'm just saying for myself. So yeah, definitely size 6 and below for sure. Size small and below, in terms of t-shirt sizes or like fast fashion sizes. I do want my body fat to definitely be below 25%. And that's not a diss if you are above 25%, but just for me, since I am already an hourglass, I do have, well, it depends on how you measure me. If you measure my shoulders versus my hips, I'm an hourglass. If you measure my breasts versus my hips, then I'm a pear or Coke bottle. So because of my shape, if I were to be above like 25%, my hips and ass and everything is going to just be, it would make me uncomfortable. That's a little too much jiggling. Like, I don't like having a lot of jiggliness in my boobs and butt. I know that's not even a word, jiggliness. Yeah, so I do have standards for myself. So other women may have different standards, and that's fine. You want me to respect your body? You want me to respect your standards? Okay, so bitch, you need to respect mine. So this is my standard for myself. I don't want everything to be jiggling out of place. I don't want to have to wear girdles and like a reinforced bra and like reinforced underwear and like smoothing underwear to try to smooth out all the dimples and divots and shit. I don't want that. I want to be able to wear short, tiny shorts and have like no fat hanging out below my butt area. So yeah, I enjoy how my body looks at a certain percentage. That's my internalized beauty standard for myself. I enjoy when my stomach is flat. And I like it to the point where even if I am bloated or something, or let's say I just ate, I like that my stomach still looks thin. I still look thin overall. I don't want my body to be fat enough to where I always look like I have a food baby or I always look pregnant or something. That's not my internal standard of beauty. And I'm not afraid to say that. And I think it takes a lot of boldness, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of humility, actually, to be able to lose weight and to keep it off. It takes a lot of accountability to lose weight. It takes a lot of humility. It takes a lot of courage to be able to admit to yourself that there's something you don't like and then to be willing to change that. And a lot of people say that weight loss is a form of self-hate. And, that's a very idiotic talking point. And of course, that's a very common talking point in the Black community that, if you're trying to be skinny or whatever, that you automatically hate yourself and you're trying to be white by trying to be skinny. It's like, I don't care. That's the number one insult in the Black community is to be called self-hating. And it's like, I don't care if you think I'm self-hating at all, actually. I could care less because at the end of the day, I love how I look. I like how my body looks. I care about my body. I have ended friendships before because it was negatively influencing me in terms of my body and diet and stuff. So if I have friends and they're trying to pressure me, they want to pressure me to drink, pressure me to smoke, pressure me to eat processed foods. If they're trying to pressure me to do anything with my body that I don't want to do, they're not my friends anymore. So yes, I have ended friendships so I can maintain my body and my lifestyle, and I like it the way it is. And I like the pedestal and the attention that I get because of my body. Yeah, that's right, I said it. I like the positive attention I get because of my body. I remember last year for the 4th of July, I went to a barbecue and, everybody's wearing a bikini. It was a pool party. It was like a barbecue, then we went to the guy's pool. And I remember as soon as I walked in, people were looking at me up and down. They were anticipating me taking off my cover up that I was wearing. People were literally waiting. I remember standing over by the beach chairs, like I was getting ready to take off my cover up dress, and I remember several people looking over at me. They were just curious. They were trying to steal a look, trying to steal a glance at me as I'm taking off my dress so they can see like what my body looks like in a bikini. People would not be doing that if I would have been obese. So I will admit, I do like the attention and admiration that I get from having a nice physique and from, especially being in my mid 30s and being able to maintain a healthy body. That takes a lot of strength and courage and dedication and, maintaining it for years. And also, still being skinny, still being able to wear a belly shirt while I'm on my period, even if I'm bloated or, I had a bad day or something, or like, let's say I ate like trash for the last week or something, and then my stomach is still flat. Yes, that's absolutely something that I'm very proud of. And so I think that when you're skinny, you get a different level of pedestalization because people are looking to you as the standard. They're looking to see what you look like in a bikini. And I'm not talking about just the male gaze. I'm talking about other women looking at you to see, like, wait, what workouts is she doing? Like, I've had women copy my workouts in the gym, even though I am not a personal trainer. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. Copying me, they saw me doing squats. Now they want to do the exact same squats. They saw me on the mat doing mat Pilates randomly. So now they suddenly want to do mat Pilates and they want to do the exact same thing that I'm doing. And by the way, that's more of a struggle medium mindset, trying to copy other girls' workouts or thinking that a workout at all is the key to being at a healthy weight. It's not. It's your diet. Your diet is the number one most important. That's why most people can't achieve it because most people don't have a healthy diet. So guess what? I'm not average. I don't want my body to be 175 because that's the average weight of a woman in the United States. And I do not identify as having an average weight body. I don't identify with that. Being average and medium, that doesn't go with my personality. It doesn't go with how I perceive myself. And so I am willing to do whatever it takes so that I can not be a part of that category. So if other women want to be in that category, that's fine. So then why do I need to be a part of it? There are already thousands of women happily volunteering and saying that 175 is too skinny. So let those women be the quote unquote average weight. Let them fill that role. I don't want to fill that role. So, is being skinny my whole identity? No, it's not my whole identity, but being privileged is a part of my identity, and thin privilege is a thing. So, guess what? I'm going to get whatever privileges I have control over. If I have the option to receive thin privilege, then I'm going to do that. So, yes, I enjoyed being at the trail yesterday and then like people are watching me as I'm running past them, or like they see me running, so then they try to start running. And then several people at the trail literally were trying to keep up with me. It's very obvious because it's like, how come when I speed up, then you speed up? Then when I slow down, then you slow down. Okay, so it's obvious you're trying to pace alongside of me. So, but you know what? I like the pedestal. I like that. I like that I am a standard of fitness. So that's another thing. They'll be like, oh, well, you're not even cute, or, the exoticals are ugly. And it's like, okay, even if the exoticals were ugly, me being ugly and at a healthy weight, at least I'm a standard of fitness. Even if I wasn't a standard of beauty, at least I'm a standard of health. Something is better than nothing. And so I deeply care about my body. I care about my self image. I want my self image. I want to be able to have something to be quote unquote cocky about. People say, oh, you're conceited, you're being arrogant. Okay, so you're admitting that I must have something to be conceited about. You're saying that I have a body that's worth bragging about then. If you think I'm conceited because I'm skinny. Okay, so just admit that my body is on a pedestal. Also, I love the fact that all of the beauty icons, every single one of them, regardless of what race they are usually women of my body type. They're women who have a healthy weight. Their body fat percentage is closer to mine versus somebody who's 275. So I like that. I like seeing my body represented in the media. I like that my body looks more like a mannequin. So even if I do walk into the store and buy something, it's probably going to fit me. I'm not going to have a bunch of lumps and bumps. That's another fun part of being thin. I don't have lumps and bumps everywhere that I have to hide. Oh, gotta hide my cellulite, have to hide the stretch marks, have to hide the belly pooch, have to hide the love handles, have to hide the bra strap fat. Oh, my neck is fat. Oh, I have to hide the back of my neck as well. I can't wear an updo because my face is too fat. No. And also, another fun thing about being thin is I love wearing costumes. So, Halloween is coming up in a few months. I can't wait. I've already been thinking about what kind of costume I want to wear because Halloween is coming up. There are some Renaissance fairs that I want to go to. There are so many different things that I want to dress up for, and it's fun to be able to have that option. Most women, they can't even dress up on Halloween in a costume that they want to dress up in because they're so big that they have to cover up everything, so they have to look up only the outfits that are like not sexy basically, or the outfits that are like, like a nun. That's her only option. She has to dress up as a nun. She didn't want to be a nun, but she just had so much that she needed to cover. She was like, fuck it, I'll just be a nun. I'll just be a ghost and wear a bed sheet. Oh, and another thing I love about being thin is I get to wear whatever hairstyles I want. Because when I had a bowling ball face, I didn't want to wear my hair in a bun because that's just going to highlight how round my cheeks are. It's going to make me look even more big and puffy. So I couldn't wear a slick back like how I wanted to. But as a thin woman, as a thin privileged woman, I can wear my hair slicked back. It can go in a ponytail. It can be down, up. I'm not trying to cover any double chins. I don't have to do all this extreme contouring and like drawing all these big black lines on my chin so I could like hide the double chin. And another thing is, I like how my side profile looks. My side profile slays as a thin woman. You cannot tell me shit about my side profile. And then if you couple that up with getting braces or Invisalign, like if your teeth are messed up and then maybe you get your teeth fixed as well, oh, baby, you can't tell me shit. Do you know how many women look good from the front and they look terrible from the side angle? That's actually a lot of women. A lot of women look really bad from the side because they're so big. You can tell that they have the turkey neck on the side or whatever, or like, their profile just doesn't look good because they have so much extra weight. So I enjoy having a beautiful face and side profile, and like my body, the angles of my body look nice and healthy and strong. Also, I like that I can walk everywhere. I was able to walk in 90-degree heat and I was just fine because I'm healthy and fit and I'm hydrated. I know how to properly hydrate myself. That's another skill. You learn so many skills when you start getting into like fitness and health, and not even just fitness, just health in general. When you get into health and wellness, you learn so many cool skills like how to hydrate yourself, how to refuel yourself, how to eat before you do a long workout, how to fuel for an endurance workout, how to do stuff after the workout, what kind of pre-workouts work on you. Do you like pre-workout or not? What kind of protein works the best with your body? There are so many amazing things that I've learned about my body from losing weight and just from like experimenting with health. So I told you guys about learning how I have a low acid stomach, learning about how watery foods do really well with my body. So like steamed vegetables versus like a salad. So, but for some people, they like raw salads, that works really well for their body. In my case, steamed vegetables work really well. So just learning all the nuances of my body, it's been a really cool process and a very beautiful thing. It's almost like how people describe being pregnant. They say that like their body goes through all these changes. They learn all this new information. They have all these different symptoms that they have to manage, and then they have to learn all these natural remedies and stuff while they're pregnant. Well, that's how I feel when it comes to weight loss. I felt like I learned a lot about my own body. And so I will never go back. No, I'm not going to be fucking 175. For what? I don't even have the mindset of a person who's 175. It would literally take, I would have to overeat so much. I would have to force myself to eat a bunch of chocolate. I would have to force myself to eat candy every single day. And then I would have to purposely not work out and then be in a bad mood and not get the endorphins just so I could try to gain weight. So I'm not even the same person. Like, I don't even have the same mindset as a person that's 175, 195, 225. It takes a different mindset to be thin versus being big. People who are big, they don't really care for the most part. That's why they're big. It's because they didn't care. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.